That's been done. You've done it before. And if we made this $900 all principal, then this is 7.45 is not an interest rate, right? It's simply the rate at which we're paying off this $900 pays off that balance. But if we can convince the seller to accept this $900 as reduction in payment at a full $900, then that's a zero interest loan, folks. And so we're amortizing this thing at $900 every month. There's no room for interest. All of it's going towards principal. That'd be a great day. That means we're eating this 145 at a nice, attractive pace. But here's my suggestion. $900 is a lot to pay per month. And I like a little bit more than $100 spread. So let's bump this down to like $800.
So this property is free and clear, I presume.
This is free and clear. As far as we know, this is free and clear, except for these potential liens and such.
Liens or back taxes. Yep.
Yeah, the original owner paid all cash for it. When I looked at the deed, I think he bought it for $107,000, going off of memory. But yeah, he paid all cash.
Got it. So a fourplex, $800 a month. That's $200 per door in effectively cash flow, right? If you're the seller and you do this deal, you're getting $800 a month. But you're not having to chase after it. You're not a landlord. So you're not having to go knock on doors and say, hey, where's my money? You're getting it as a lender, which means it's worth more. And you're not paying any expenses on it. You're not paying insurance, taxes, maintenance, vacancy management because you're not the landlord. They're simply collecting that $800 a month because they're the lender with no hassles. And if we give them any hassles, they can foreclose on our butts, keep the $30,000 that we paid them, sell it to somebody else. So we don't want that to ever happen. So in my mind, $200 a door is actually generous. But if we did $200 a door, they shouldn't complain. And it actually gives us a larger spread between the $1,000 that we're collecting from the investor and the $800 we're paying them. That means a $200 per month cash flow just for being in the middle of the deal, because we're not a landlord either. We are a lender, right? So we're getting that pay that $200. It's the difference between what we're collecting from the investor and what we're paying to the seller. So this is a wraparound note. So under those circumstances, let me bump this back up to the 215 we had it, which again won't change any of the numbers. It just will change this note balance. It won't change the cash on cash return or the cash flow because it's not the purchase price is not factored into cash on cash return, just what we paid in cash. And the 215 we're not paying in cash, only 45,000 we're paying in cash. And when I say we, the investor. So this, as it is right now, is a structure that works. Now, will the seller like it? It's entirely up to them. But we're paying a nice price, and some sellers only care about the purchase price that shows up on the PSA. They get their heels dug in. I got to get my 175. I got to get my 150. So give it to them. Don't argue with the 175. Negotiate on the down payment. If we can get that down payment we want, I'm happy to give them whatever purchase price they want to put on there. So at this rate, and honestly, if I were making this offer to the seller, I would probably start off at something less than 800 and try to get and leave them room to negotiate me up to 800. I might start them off at like 600 or 400 and see if they can complain. Because again, $100 a month, $100 per door is better than what they're getting right now, which is $0 per door, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I have a question. You tell me what you think of this. So since the property taxes are not due until December 31st, 2023, should that amount be deducted from the seller at the closing?
It should, because in order so you're going to want title insurance to guarantee, when we do the A to B transaction, to guarantee that we have unimpeachable guaranteed title. Nobody has any claims on the property. We have the property. And in order to do that, all these judgments, liens, obligations have to be wiped off. If we do what you propose, and let's say when the time comes, it doesn't get paid, and more levies and fines get applied, now not only are we unhappy, but this investor who bought it from us is going, wait a minute now. I thought I got clean title. And first of all, he's not going to be able to get insurance if you don't pay those things off. But more importantly, at the time of the trading of title, at the exchange of title, you're telling me that all the obligations that were on this property have been wiped off so that you can sell it to me clean. And so it's your obligation, you, the seller's obligation to get those things taken off. And at the closing, they will prorate the taxes. So the seller will only pay for the portion of the year that they own the property. But it sounds like for some of the stuff, what do you call them? My mind is going blank. But basically, the fees that you pay when you're not maintaining your property properly, those are perfected into a lien, and that's a debt that the seller owes. I mean, if they had paid that when it was due, we wouldn't be having this conversation. But they didn't pay it. But that's still their obligation to pay it, and it is now a drag on the property that they need to pay. So they may not be happy about this, but this is their responsibility to pay. And in order to get title insurance, yeah, that's got to be cleaned off at the time of closing. And we're going to get title insurance when we buy it. And the investor's going to get title insurance again when they buy it from us. And so, yeah, that's going to have to be wiped off. And they shouldn't be surprising to the seller. They shouldn't be upset by this because it was due. I mean, it's not like this is not.
Well, they already know. I told them how much
cool.
was left on there. So they are familiar. I told the daughter, I said, just FYI, the taxes are not due until December 31st of this year. So they are not technically late. I said, but the other amount, the other stuff that's owed is because the city had to go and clean up those shrubs and those bushes because it was a mess and they had to do that. So they charged because of that. So it was like a commercial. I think I have to pull it up and I'll send it to you so you can see what it looks like. But it's like a commercial cleanup thing that the city basically put to the property because they went in and had to do all of that.
Yeah, and I see this in Tulsa as well. And here's the thing. The city doesn't do this out of the blue. You get warned like 5, 6, 7, 8 times before they do it. And they go, look, if you don't do this, we're going to have to do it and then charge you. And they do at least 3 or 4 of those warnings.
Yeah, because it wasn't on there in 2020. Because I checked, it wasn't on there in 2021.
Yeah.
I think it was in 2022 sometime when they decided to go and clean it up and then charge, say, hey, you owe us this money because we had to go. Because by all rights, the owner or proposed owner should have been the one to take care of it. But I think the brother died, the original owner died, I want to say I talked to her in 2020, or was it 2021? I think he died in like 2020 or 2021 or something like that. But he's had the property for a while. So he bought it back in 2007. 2008. I got to look at it again, but he bought it. Maybe I think it was 2017. He bought it, and then he didn't do anything with the property. And so many people have reached out to her because I cold called and I found her, and so many people tried to get that property under contract. I'm the only one that was able to get under contract.
Got it. Nicely done. And code enforcement. What I was thinking of is those are the things that when they get perfected into liens, you just got to pay them. And so, and again, once we get the total amount, and yes, you're right, we won't know the final amount until the title is pulled. The same thing is true. We had a situation that cropped up for us, and I know Matt's got to run. So if you do need to run, Matt, I understand. We had a situation where the seller had a personal judgment against them. But it was a personal judgment that showed up in the database that they checked before they do a closing. And the attorney said, hey, we got to pay this judgment. It's not related to the house, except for the fact that this person personally owes this, and it's got to be deducted from the closing in order for this to close. So it was like a $10,000 or $20,000 additional payment that had to be made out of the closing proceeds. And the seller went ballistic. And I'm like, dude, you're gonna have to pay this no matter when you sell. You're never going to be able to escape this because the minute that they try to close, they're going to run into the exact same database, see that you owe this money, and you're going to have to pay it. So either pay it now or pay it later with interest. But they refused to pay it. And we just said, hey, you know what? We can't make you pay it, but we can't close without it because no one's going to give you title unless it's resolved. So if we knew that it was 26, then we prepare them for the reality that you're not going to get 30,000 at closing because you had to pay 26 of that 30,000 in these back expenses that you had, because you don't own it free and clear. And so no one is surprised, shocked, and disappointed at closing. So you have to manage those expectations, because you don't want people seeing 30,000 on the PSA, and then closing happens, and they look at a check for $4,000, and then they want to be mad. So you want to make sure that you manage their expectations. But I would start with something like this, and see what their thoughts are on this. If they throw up all over it, find out what they don't like about it. And again, I would probably start off with lower than $800, just so that you have room to bump it up if you need to. And if you put 600 and they say fine, then you just bought yourself an extra $200 and $200 a month in cash flow. So don't give away what you don't have to. But this is how I do the terms offer. I start from the back, I work my way forward, and I'm primarily adjusting down payment and monthly payments. And I'm trying to keep it to the point where the investor is getting a 10% cash on cash return and decent cash flow. This is what, $400-ish in cash flow per unit, which is not a bad deal. Does that help, Sassy? Does this make sense?
Yes, that made a lot of sense. So what I'll do, I'm gonna lower that to 700. And let me say this too, because I've built a relationship with them. So like when they were going through the whole probate process and all of that, they were calling me and letting me know, keeping me updated with the steps and what they had to do. They live in Maryland, so they had to go to Philly, to take care of some stuff. They started the whole estate process in Maryland. They had to, so she was like the daughter, because the sister, who's the rightful heir to the property, she's in her 70s. So her daughter was the one that was like taking her and, making sure that all of this stuff got taken care of. So with that being said, not that it's personal, right? But it is it's a little different than, say, versus somebody who I've never built a connection with or had in fact, there was another sister. When I first reached out to her, the other sister was alive and then she died. So I learned all of this just in that 2 years and being connected with her. So I will bump it down to I'm bumping down to 700 and just see what they say. I do have a feeling though, they're going to want the cash. I have a feeling.
Well, and if they
Why
need
then?
all the cash, then you have a plan for that. You have an offer for that. But they should appreciate the fact that if they get all the cash, they're going to take a hit tax-wise. And unless they have something really constructive to do with the cash once they get it, they take that cash and stick it in a bank at 0.35%, then they'd have been better off taking the 3 that we were offering, 2 that we were offering, so whatever. So anyway, cool. I know that we're over time, but hopefully, Matthew, this will help you a little bit, because the second example we're gonna cover was gonna be the terms offer that you've got to work on. You and I will talk about that one offline, but the terms offers are always going to be this same structure. I'm going to start from the back, work my way forward, ask myself, what does the investor want to pay? And then based on what they want to pay, how much can I afford to pay the seller? Where pay is down payment and monthly payment, and to some extent, the rate at which I'm paying that off. Cool. Hopefully this was helpful. Again, I realized a couple of hours ago that I never uploaded the last call we did to the group. So I just finished that one a few minutes ago. I'll upload that one and I'll upload this one so that they'll be available for you to take a look at if you'd like. And of course, you have my contact information. So if you need to reach me, that's my job. My job is to help you guys get your deals done so that we can all celebrate and move on to the next one and the next one after that. So yeah, let me know what I can do to help, what resources I can bring to bear, continue to support and encourage each other. And I will do the same.
Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you.
Right, folks.
Great
pleasure.
job,
We'll
Sassy.
talk soon. And Matthew, we'll talk tomorrow about your terms offer.
I appreciate it. Yes, sir. Y'all have a good night.
All
Right,
right.
folks.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updated on our new upcoming videos soon. Thank you so much for watching.